This week on the Computer Chronicles, should you buy a new computer or can you upgrade your current PC? We'll show you the basics for doing an upgrade on your CPU, your memory, and your hard drive. We'll look at the buy new alternative and some of the things you just can't get with an upgrade. Own a laptop? Well, you can upgrade that too. We'll show you how. And if you decide to buy a new PC, what do you do with your old one? We'll give you some advice on getting rid of an old, outdated computer. On Net News, you'll find out where to shop for used PCs, and on My Pick of the Week, a neat new package that lets you easily put snapshots and family photos into your computer. All this and more coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Hewlett-Packard Personal Computers, developing PCs for business. Villa Crespo Software, makers of Go Figure, the problem-solving toolkit. The Computer Chronicles is also made possible by the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet. This computer stuff can really drive you nuts. No sooner do you plunk down a few $1,000s for a new computer when a newer box comes along with all new bells and whistles that you wish your PC had. What to do? Should you buy a new computer or can you upgrade your current computer? Let's start with the upgrade option and some advice from Paul Schindler. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Stuart.
All right, first of all, what machine is really upgradable? How good does it have to be to still be worth upgrading?
Well, if you have a 386, 33 or less, any 386, any 286, forget it. Too old, don't bother. The internal infrastructure just simply
doesn't really have the I/O and the bus stuff to support speed.
That's exactly right. So what you need is at least a 486 DX33. That's a 486 DX chip with a 33 megahertz clock or higher. If you have one of those, then it's worth trying to go up to the next clock speed or to the Pentium chip.
I happen to have just such a computer here.
All right.
And the things I need, I guess, if I'm going to upgrade, faster processor, more RAM, bigger hard drive.
That's
right.
right.
So let's go through those three things, and let's start with a CPU. Can I go out and buy a 100 megahertz 486 or a Pentium processor and just replace the chip?
Yes, you can, if you can get at it and if you have the right kind of chip in your current machine. We're going to pull this power supply out. It's a very well-engineered machine, easy to get at it. The processor chip is always easy to identify because it's the largest chip on the board, and you can do the chip replacement yourself if your current processor chip is in what's called a zero insertion force, or ZIF, socket. Now what that means is it's set up to make it easy for anybody to put the chip in and out. A ZIF socket has one of these levers on the side. You pull this lever,
which takes the pressure off the pins,
and makes
so
it
I'm
possible.
not going to damage the pins.
You're not going to damage the pins. You lift this chip off, you take your new chip, and by the way, you know, there's 4 ways you could put it down here, but only in one way will the chip just drop in place. You push the lever back down, you have a new processor.
And my machine will recognize the new processor.
Recognize the new processor,
no big deal.
operate at the new clock speed.
I need more RAM. I bought Windows 95. They're telling me 16 megabytes. That's pretty easy to do, right?
That is pretty easy to do. It's going to cost you about $300 for 8 megabytes, roughly. And you can do it if your current memory comes in one of these single inline memory modules, or SIMs. If it's soldered to the board, you can't change it. So you get one of these SIMs. By the way, notice that there's a 1 on one side and a 72 on the other side. You match that to the board.
That's the way to put it in.
You put it straight in. There's some pins here you have to push out. If it's hard to push the memory in, you're doing it wrong and start over.
Once again, will my computer recognize the memory right away, or do I have to set it up?
In most cases it will. If you have any problems, you get out the documentation and you might have to change a jumper on the board. If you can't find your documentation, if you call the vendor, they'll help you do it.
Okay. Next, I've got this crummy 250 megabyte hard drive, and of course I'm already out of space because I loaded Windows 95. I need a gigabyte or something like that. Is it easy to put a new hard drive in?
It depends on how your machine is engineered. Now, this one that we got
this is quite easy because you can just kind of lift this guy out, and I've got, I guess these are sort of expansion things here?
Exactly. This is for power, and this is for electronics. If these are already in place, you can install a new hard drive. Just follow the manufacturer's directions. If you don't find empty sockets like this, then it's best to let a professional handle that installation.
Right. Okay, last question. What would it cost me to do all this? To buy a new CPU, more memory, new hard drive? Where am I?
It would cost you about $900. And at that point, if you have to do one of the three or two of the three, it makes sense to upgrade. If you have to do all three for $1,200, you can get a better machine fully integrated where someone else has done all the work. So I would say if you have to do all three, you might as well get a new machine.
All right. Last point, if you could do any of this stuff, take the plug out, right?
That's right. Take the plug out, touch a piece of metal to discharge any static.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, now if you do want to buy a new machine, let's take a look at the buy new alternative. This is Matt Egan from Circuit City. You guys sell lots and lots of computers.
Quite a few.
The key thing is we looked at what Paul just showed us. I can upgrade. I can spend maybe $900, $1,200. What can't I get from upgrading? What are the neat new things on a new PC like this system that I'm not going to get through an upgrade?
Well, there's a lot of new things that have come out recently. For example, there are infrared remote controls for the units, the new Windows 95 compatible keyboards with quick buttons that allow you to open programs on the fly without having to use your mouse at all.
Okay, now speaking of Win95, I mean, that's one thing I get. I'll have Win95 probably pre-installed.
Exactly.
Plus lots of other software, right?
Plus lots of other
Show me, for example, what would I get on this NEC system?
Well, for example, with this NEC system, right out of the box, you've got all your software preloaded, including such titles as Microsoft Publisher, Microsoft Encarta, Microsoft Bob. Everybody loves
Works.
Bob. Works, which is word processing, spreadsheet programs. A lot of online services, from America Online to CompuServe.
And you got Quicken on there.
Quicken on there as well. So right out of the box, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
You don't need to do any real setup.
All right, now, there's lots of new neat things in these machines. For instance, this NEC is really an answering machine, isn't it?
Exactly. It's an answering machine, a telephone, a fax machine. Basically, it's an office in one box.
Can you show me that interface real quick, Matt?
Sure, let me show you the interface for that. So what you have,
that thing, okay.
exactly. What you have here is a little program called MediaWorks. What it is it's the control for your phone, fax.
So I can just click on those little things on my desk and that's what I could do.
Exactly. So if you wanted to run the speakerphone, you'd click on the speakerphone. Fax, answering machine.
Yeah.
They're all represented by an icon on the desktop.
Now what's really cool about this machine is it comes with something that looks like my TV remote control. And how do I use a remote control with a PC? Let me just go through the parts of this. I mean, what do all these buttons up here do?
Well, up on the top, you have the controls for the CD player, and they work just like your home CD. So if you wanted to play a CD, skip to another track or anything like that, you just simply press a button.
So I really have a home stereo here, which I'm going to run by remote control.
Exactly.
Okay, and these buttons over here, now this looks like a telephone keypad.
They are a telephone keypad. You have a telephone built into the system, so you can make a phone call from across the room using your remote control.
Wow.
There's nothing easier than sitting around watching TV and making a phone call.
And it has an answering machine built in, right? And these are the, I guess from the phone icon, the answering machine controls?
Exactly. You can play back your messages, rewind, delete, anything that you can do on your regular answering machine, you can do now via remote control.
Okay, finally, I guess if I go out and buy this thing from you guys or wherever I buy it, I get a manufacturer's warranty and I don't have to worry that I screwed up my machine. Huh?
Exactly. Most manufacturers' warranty, you can get them anywhere from 1 year to some manufacturers are offering 3 years. Plus a lot of different retailers will offer objects like extended service policies or something along those lines.
And what would a system like this? This is a Pentium 100 system?
This is a Pentium 100.
What would this cost me?
This particular system would cost you about $3,500.
Yeah.
You can start off, though, with systems from about $1,200 to around $2,500 that are just a little bit lower than this one is.
All right, Matt, thanks a lot. All right, now everyone doesn't need a whiz-bang Pentium or Power PC to do their work. For many of us, especially students, all you need is a vanilla PC that can do your word processing and get you online. If that's you, you can save a lot of money by dropping by your local used computer store.
On a typical day at Backyard Computer Services in Concord, California, you will see equipment coming in and going out. Some of the computers are here for repair. Other machines were rescued from factories and warehouses, given a second chance at a useful life.
By going to component level, fixing components inside equipment, we have the ability to repair equipment that other stores can't. And by doing that, we're able to buy products that other people are not willing to buy, which gives a market for the used computers, fix them up, and for someone with a low budget, a student, a family that just doesn't have the money to outlay $1,000 or $2,000 for a computer, we are able, because of our expertise here, to provide a computer substantially less than that.
Manufacturers find it cheaper to store defective hardware or sell it as scrap because the cost of shipping it back to its country of origin may exceed its replacement value. This shop's owner claims that 80% of that hardware is easily repaired and recycled. And for many low-end users, the machines are more than adequate.
Well, for example, you've never had a computer before in your life. You have no idea what's going on. Do you really need a Pentium 90 or a Pentium 100? You want to learn the basics, so you're going to take a few classes at the college, the local college. You could get by with a 386 while you're going to school to learn the basics. As you get better, then you have the ability to get on the larger machines and see if you really want a computer.
By settling for a recycled machine, even a high school student can own his own PC, something most teenagers just dream about.
They usually can't afford it. It's pretty expensive to buy a computer. Most people just use, you know, if they have a parent that has a computer, they use their parent's computer. Yeah, you'd be surprised that you can get a pretty good computer for cheap.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Giles Bateman.
Well, what if you have an old laptop computer? No nice little discrete sockets and slots to swap things out in? Well, you can upgrade a laptop too. That's one of the specialties of a company called Corporate Upgrades. Andrew is here from Corporate Upgrades. Welcome, Andrew. All right, let's say this is my old laptop. This is a compact LTE. It's a 386 20 megahertz machine. It has a teeny 60 megabyte hard drive. I bought it 4 years ago and paid almost $5,000 for it, and I don't want to throw it out now. Can I take it to guys like you and you can upgrade this thing for me and make it useful now?
Yeah, we sure can. What we can do with these machines, we can replace the CPU with a 486 SLC2, a clock-doubled CPU from IBM, and the hard drives anything up to 1.3 gigabytes.
Right, so this is the insides of this compact, and just show me now. Now this is the CPU over here?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, and I obviously am not going to pluck that thing out myself, so what do you do?
Well, those are soldered on the boards. What we have to do is we use specialized surface mount equipment. We'll remove the chip and replace it with a 486, soldered onto the board, and supply any additional circuitry around it that's required to make it run.
And this is the hard drive over here, and you would swap that thing out too?
Exactly. And there's some BIOS limitations we have to get around in many cases, but that's what we do.
Okay, so the machine over here on your right has the upgrades in it. Can we run a kind of little A/B test right now? And we've set these things up to launch 2 write documents. So start both machines at the same time, and let's see how much performance improvement I got out of this machine.
Okay.
So we're launching Windows. Okay, and now this guy actually lit up first for some reason. Right?
Yeah, it seemed to.
But well, actually, it's the upgraded machine is certainly moving a lot faster now. And the fact is, it's done. And this machine is still cranking, cranking, cranking. And there's a big performance difference there already. And you multiply this out by working all day long, and there's a big difference. All right, so what we have done now is new CPU, new hard drive. Okay. The hard drive is important not only because it's bigger, but because it's faster also, right? That's part of why we saw this difference here.
Exactly. That'll make a large difference. Even with a hard drive upgrade alone, sometimes you'll see up to a 50% increase in performance.
All right, now let's take a look at clock speed. Can you run a couple of benchmark things running Norton here so we can actually see what the difference in CPU performance is? And tell me what you're doing as you do it there.
Okay, we're just going to exit Windows here and run Norton.
And this will be to look at CPU speed?
Yeah, we'll do a comparison of the CPU speed. And as you see on the left, we're running an index of 16.7 for this 20 megahertz machine. If we go to the right, we have 57.9, which is an increase of about 3.5 to 4 times almost.
Yeah. All right, now what would it cost me to upgrade this machine with just what we did here, going from a 60 meg to a 340 meg hard drive, going from a 3 to 620 to a 4 to 640?
This particular upgrade runs for $890, but we have packages anywhere between $500 and up to $1,000, depending on the drive size.
All right, now some of the newer laptops have modular design, which might allow me to do some of this work myself, right? I mean, you have an example of one of these modular hard drives from a ThinkPad.
That's true. Here we have a drive that's designed for the ThinkPad 700 and 720, a microchannel drive, and this can actually be installed by the user by removing a small cover and plugging the drive in.
Okay, so there's hope even if I have an old laptop.
Yeah.
All right. All right, suppose you do decide to buy a new computer. What do you do with the old one? It's probably not worth very much. One good idea is to give it away, donate it to a nonprofit organization. There are benefits for the organization and for you.
Children at the Mission Daycare Center in San Francisco have full schedules. Indoors, they have art classes, tutoring, and a reading circle. Outdoors, they have recreational games and equipment for almost every kind of kids' activity. But one classroom could use more equipment, and that's the computer lab. With just 2 Macintoshes, students must pair up to take their turn. These 2 Macs were brought in with grant money, but the center has made use of donated machines as well.
We have many other opportunities from editorials written in major newspapers in San Francisco. People gave us computers. Some of them were good computers and we got to use them for a while, 6 months, a year, 2 years, but they became all obsolete, broken, and they are somewhere here. We cannot fix them.
Most of the children at this center do not have computers at home, so their afternoons here provide their only access to educational software. But the fact that they aren't using the latest technology is less important than just having enough working hardware.
Even if we have technology 5 years old and operational technology is good, sometimes the computers start failing, and there is where we cannot use them because the children get frustrated and doesn't really have a good educational value.
The other side of the donation equation is the value to the donor in the form of a tax deduction. In most cases, the write-off is fine and legal as long as the donor follows certain guidelines.
Well, the main consideration when you're going to donate a piece of property is what is the fair market value of the property. You're going to need to establish what would a willing buyer pay to a willing seller of that particular piece of equipment. That doesn't mean what was the sales price when you took it off the floor, because as we all know, as soon as you buy something, it depreciates. Okay? It means what's it worth. One way you can establish that value is you can go to an expert. And there are many charities out there who currently retain experts to do valuations of this kind of property.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Giles Bateman.
As we've looked at upgrades so far, we focused on the heavy-duty stuff, CPUs, RAM, hard drives. But for many computer users, the most likely upgrade is simply a sound card. And you don't have to be afraid to open up your computer and install an add-on card. It's very easy to do. Kim Frederico is with us from Creative Labs. This is, I guess, your best-selling sound card right now. First of all, what's on this card? What kind of sound do we get?
This is a 16-bit CD quality audio card, which uses a technology called FM synthesis to play back the music that comes out of your PC.
All right, and if I have no sound card whatsoever, I buy one of these things, I just take it, I open up my computer, and just stick it in one of those expansion slots like that, right?
That's correct. It's very simple. All of our cards now are plug-and-play compatible, which means that they're as easy as possible for the average end user to install.
All right, now suppose I already own this sound card. The fact is I can upgrade the sound card now, can't I?
That's correct. We have a daughter card, which we call Wave Blaster 2, which connects to an existing 16-bit sound card like this via this connector here.
All right, so if I could take this card and I just buy this little add-on thing and just plug it right over there onto the basic sound card, right?
That's right, and now all of a sudden you have a 16-bit sound card with the full wavetable synthesis for the best quality of music.
Okay, suppose I don't have any sound card again, and I obviously don't want to buy this one and have to upgrade. I want to buy the best kind of sound card there is. That's that one over there?
Then we go to our top-of-the-line card,
Okay.
the Sound Blaster AWE32, and it combines the 16-bit CD quality audio with wavetable synthesis. You can do special effects like reverb and chorus all on this one card.
All right, can we do a little kind of A/B audio demonstration here so that we can tell the difference? What is the difference in the sound of the FM synthesis you talked about and the newer wave synthesis?
Right. You'll hear in the FM synthesis that since the sounds are computer generated, they're somewhat artificial sounding.
All right, so this is the first example of the FM synthesis. And describe now what is the weakness in this sound?
Well, it's very hard to distinguish what the instruments are. They all sound a little artificial, somewhat tinny. It's very difficult to know whether there's a horn playing here or what.
Let's hold a second, listen. Okay, so jump over now to the new sound card and use the wave synthesis.
Okay, I'll be playing the same piece. And since wave synthesis is using real sampled instrument sounds, real piano sounds, real horn sounds, the sound playback is much richer.
Okay, so let's listen. You can hear it's a richer sound. The instruments are more distinct. There's sort of a wider range. What's now the difference in the technology here is Wave is sampled sounds as opposed to sort of digitally artificially created sounds.
That's correct. Since we do have the real sampled instruments on the card in memory, and that's what's used when it's played back, it sounds very realistic, a full orchestral experience while you're playing your multimedia application.
Okay. And does it matter? It really does, I guess. If you're buying any one of the new CD-ROM games, which are full of rich sound, you're not going to get it unless you've got a good sound card.
This is the best. This is the way to go for the best experience.
All right, Kim, thanks a lot. All right, if you're not too fussy and you have a limited budget, but you still want to move up to a more powerful computer, you might want to shop around for a used PC. And one of the best places to do that is online. Giles is up next with some tips on how to do it.
Thanks, Stewart. To buy or to upgrade is a question I dream about every day. Now, if you find yourself in a similar situation, you may want to check out the website for NECX Direct. Now, as you see here, they've got only 20,000 computer products. I'm kidding, that's an awful lot. But if you go to any one of these buttons down here, these are the different categories of products you can buy. Cards and boards, multimedia hardware, and right now I'm going to check out RAM and CPU upgrades. Now, they give me memory options and processor upgrade options. That's what I want to do. So all of a sudden I bring up a list of manufacturers that NECX Direct carries. And from here I can scroll through, pick a different model, pick a different upgrade, and actually order the thing I want online. And if I'm a member of their Buyers Club, I get a special discount. Now, the other thing you might want to check out is on your online service. Now, we're looking at America Online, but it doesn't have to be America Online. It could be CompuServe, it could be eWorld. But anyway, if you go, keyword, jump, whatever the thing is to classifieds, you will come to an area where members of that particular online service can buy and sell their particular goods that they have. Now, say I'm thinking about going to a Power Mac, so I'll go to the Macintosh Trading Board. So I might want to check out the used Power Macs, and then I may find some prices in here as I scroll through that are a lot better than the prices I find on the street, and I may decide that it's better to actually buy the machine I need than to add an upgrade to my existing machine.
Now it's time for our weekly summary of what's new in the field of personal computing. Let's go to Studio E for this week's Computer News with Lori.
In the random access file this week, just 16 months after buying out WordPerfect, Novell says it will sell most of its new acquisition, along with other parts of its application software business. The Associated Press reports that Novell plans to concentrate on its networking and communications products. Power Computing announced a new line of fast Mac clones called the PowerWave. These computers feature the new 604 PowerPC processor with models running from 120 to 150 megahertz. Microsoft played host to a gathering of Windows game programmers. The session featured more than 75 games and one unusual game character.
You might wonder what I'm doing here. Well, I'm getting kind of an inside look at some of these new games.
The games included a new version of Doom as well as plenty of wholesome new children's games. Hewlett-Packard has introduced a new network scanner for the corporate market. The HP ScanJet 4SI is designed to hook into a computer network and feed documents electronically. The 4SI can scan 15 pages a minute. This is the first desktop scanner to work with a network. It will cost about $3,000. Other scanners with similar features cost as much as $100,000. Ziff Davis Interactive just launched its new ZD 3D interactive virtual reality area on the web. Based on virtual reality modeling language, it makes 3D environments on the internet accessible through any 486 PC.
Virtual reality has been pie in the sky for many years, and it was always that next year is always the year for virtual reality. Well, this year is really the year. You've got over 300 companies building sites right now, from IBM to Disney to SoftBank. These companies are committed to building the standard, and there are, again, over 50 companies that are delivering tools so that people can chat from around the world or get together in a fully interactive environment.
From November 13th through the 17th, you can watch the country's biggest computer trade show on the internet. For the first time ever, Comdex TV will broadcast 120 hours of full motion video and real-time audio from Las Vegas. And finally, CompuServe has announced a revolutionary new adjunct to its online service that lets you access email, news, sports, and stock information without needing a PC. All you need is the new CompuServe Calling All card to find out what's waiting for you online. You can even instruct the system to send information to a fax machine. Cost for the new service will be 25 cents a minute. That's it for this week's Random Access. Back to you, Stewart.
Before we leave you, my pick of the week for a neat new computer product. Photography is going digital, that is clear, but most of us don't want to spend $1,000 right now to buy one of these digital cameras. Well, you don't have to. A company named Storm Software has just come out with a new hardware software package that lets you easily scan your existing photos and snapshots into your PC. This is the Easy Photo Reader from Storm. It's simple to set up. It plugs into your parallel port, the place you usually plug in your printer. All you have to do is place your photo into the feeder here, and in a few seconds you have a digital version in your computer that can be easily pasted into most software applications such as word processors, presentation programs, or creativity packages like PrintShop. The Easy Photo Reader also comes with easy-to-use software that lets you crop your pictures or adjust a bad exposure or faded color. You can even eliminate those little red dots from people's eyes if you were using a flash. This is a very friendly package which lets you graduate from plain text documents to newsletters and announcements that are full of colorful photos. It's the Easy Photo Reader from Storm Software. It costs under $250 for the scanner and the software. That's it for this week.